How's it going, everybody? I'm Drifty from Drifter Gaming. In this RPGMMV tutorial, I'm going to teach you how to use Galv's Message Styles plugin. So, in an attempt to slay the default show text, I'm going to use a plugin called Galv's Message Styles to create this cool-looking window. It's not exactly like I want it to be, so we're going to change that a little bit. But you can see it's different, right? It doesn't show the regular window, and it doesn't show it at the bottom, the middle, or the top. It's not dim, it's not transparent. It could be from a window skin, but you can see that the icon's bigger. It's moved over to the side. It's got a different border. It doesn't go all the way across the screen. It looks a little different. So we're using a /pop command for that, and it's drawing it on the screen relative to the event, or basically wherever we want to put it, we can put it. It's kind of cool. So this one, you can see we've got this little bubble, right? Because it's coming from the event. And we've got a window here, and the name is displayed there, and the icon right there. It's cool. It's not exactly like I want it to be, but I'm going to work in Photoshop to change the window skin. What's cool about this plugin is that you can use a different window.png for your show texts, and still maintain a different window.png for like everything else. For your menus and your color scheme for the rest of the game. It could be different from the show text window.png. But anyway, I'm going to show you how to use this plugin. It's not too complicated. It's got some confusing things in there, but we're going to go over them right now, and I'll show you how to avoid some pitfalls that you might come across using Galv's plugin here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the event and how you call upon this plugin. I'll put a link in the description below to Galv's website where you can get this plugin. You might want to also download the sample project that comes right with the link that's right next to it, because that's going to let you get the window, what's it called? We'll look at the plugin real quick. The window indicator or something or another, arrow graphic. Yeah, you're going to get the arrow graphic from his img/system folder, and you can copy that and put it into your system folder. We're going to come back to this, but I want to show you the event. So basically this event, how it's drawing the show text and it shows the indicator coming from this event, is we're using /pop, and then in brackets we're putting 0. That means pop this window out using the parameters that are in the plugin, but relative to this event where the show text is at. But say you wanted to have an event that's in the top left corner and it doesn't have any image, and you want it to show text for this character speaking. How do you make this character look like the text is coming from here, but the text is being controlled from like a controller event in the top left? Well, it's simple. You'll put the ID of the event inside this text box. So every event has an ID. By default, its name is set to event ID to its number, but even if you change the name, the ID still shows up in the top left corner of each of the event editors. So this is event 13. So if I was using this, executing this show text from another event, like a controller event, I could still have it show up like I wanted it, like it did, by saying pop 13. That's going to call this show text to show up relative to event number 13, which is Naya. But since this text is inside of Naya's event here, we're going to say pop 0. That means show this text relative to the event that it's in. There's several other ways that you can draw the text on the screen. You could actually specify an X or a Y. Let's go to the help file. It's pretty simple in the help file. It's got a lot of information in a short amount of words, so you might want to skim over this once or twice. What we were doing when we were saying 13 is right here using this one, and 0 is for its own event, like we talked about. But some other things you can do is you can target your followers relative to the number of followers. So say you've got 5 followers. Well, in this case you've got 5 followers, and you want to show the text to pop out of the third one. You just put a negative number and then say my third follower, and that'll do that. And you can also specifically say the text is going to be drawn on an actor number by saying A and then the number of the actor. I believe this is in database, so the actor would have to be on the screen. Anyway, what I mainly use it for is this. When I want to say draw it on this part of the screen, you can say pop X comma Y, and you can say from 0, all the way to your max resolution. In this game, it's 1280 by 720. So if I wanted to draw it towards this bottom part, it would, be closer to 1280, 720. So X goes across and the Y goes up and down. And as you go from the top, it goes down. So 0 on the X is at the top, and then as you go all the way down, 720 would be at the bottom of the Y, and 0 on the X is all the way to the left, and as you go all the way across, 1280 is over there. So using that, you can scale where you want the text. But the main thing that you're probably going to be using it for is pop and then 0. And put that right in front of the text command, and it's going to show it like it's supposed to. One other little pitfall. When you show your text, if you're using this plugin and you wanted to use this plugin, you have to set the background to window. Because if it's not set to window, it won't call the plugin. It'll just do the regular dim or the regular transparent. It actually looks kind of buggy. So if you're using this plugin, just set all the backgrounds to window. The window position is irrelevant because we're specifying the position by the pop number that we actually put inside the bracket. So that's basically how you use it. Let's go over the parameters and questions you might have with the parameters. Galv's message styles. So the input indicator. So the first thing is the position. The input indicator is that little, upside down arrow, or the down pointing arrow that's flashing. On my game at the beginning, you saw it was on the bottom right corner. That's because I have a 3 right there. So if you think about like a box, right? Well, just look at your number pad. You have 1, 2, 3, and then 4, 5, 6, and then 7, 8, 9, right? So if you want the input indicator to be on the top right, you would say 9 right here, and it'll put the input indicator on the top right. Let's say this right here is our show text, right? 1 would be here, 2 would be here, 3 would be here, 4, and you can't, obviously you don't want it in the middle, so there's no 5 option. 6 will put it here, 7 will put it up here, 8 right here, and 9 will go right there. So in my game I have it right here. By default I believe it's set to 2. The next thing is the offset. So if you want to give an X or a Y offset, you can say, for right here I've got it on the third one, so 1, 2, 3, so it's drawing over here. But say I wanted it to draw just slightly higher than the 3, like in between the 6 and the 3, then I could add some to the Y value, and then, or actually subtract some from the Y value, and that'll bring it up. Add some will bring it, push it down. If you want to bring it to the left a little bit, then you subtract from the X value. If you want to push it out farther, you can add to this value. I prefer 200 or 300, but you can put it however you want. Moving on to the next thing, the indicator zoom. The indicator, once again, is that upside down arrow, the down pointing arrow we're talking about. By default, it's 100%. It's its regular size. You can increase its size right here or reduce its size. So let's go ahead and reduce its size a little bit and see how that affects it. That's basically going to change the size of it, and that's all it really does. So padding, what is padding? How much empty space do you want to have be in between the walls and the text? So if you imagine this is our show text, this is our border, and this is our message where the text starts. So the padding is the distance in between here. So this little bit of space right there is like the left padding, and then this is like the bottom padding, right? And this is the right padding and the top padding. So you can kind of go top, right, bottom, left, change the padding up to add more, like make the boxes bigger but not make the font bigger. You can actually make the font bigger too if you want. So you saw window 2 here. So we can specify a different window. The game is using window.png, but this plugin is calling window2.png. I'm actually going to change this to window3.png, which is a copy of window.png, but we're going to go into Photoshop and we're going to edit that. Also, you can make your own window arrow graphic if you don't want to download the sample project from Galv's demo. And put it in your game. You can make your own arrow, and then you can change the name and call it whatever you want, but you have to put it in your IMG system folder, and you type in the name right here with no.png, just the actual name. The next thing is the opacity. How see-through do you want your background? If you put 0, the background will be completely invisible. If you put 255, the background will be completely opaque, and it'll be like a brick of the background. No transparency whatsoever. I think the sweet spot is between like 150 to 225, somewhere in there. Maybe 175 would be a good We'll go ahead and do that 175. So you can kind of see through it a little bit, but not really. It's still solid enough to be like a background. The white offset, this is going to be like where do you want to draw that message box? Do you want it to be right on top of the event that's talking, completely covering it up, then set it to 0. If you want a little bit of offset, you can put that there and it'll move it down or up depending on if it's a positive or a negative number. You can specify whatever font you want to use. Just put the name of the font right there. You can also custom, you can input a font inside your fonts folder, IMG font, or maybe it's just system font. I think it's just your game/fonts folder, and you can call upon it right there. Or if you leave it blank, you can it'll just use the game's font, which is kind of cool because now all your show text can be different than like your menu and everything. I might actually find a font for all the show text later on. You can turn off the outline. I recommend leaving it on unless you have like a bright background and a dark color, and then you might want outline. Well, it doesn't really matter. It's up to you. Completely optional. You can change the font size without affecting the menus or anything. This is just going to change the show text font size. So more customization is always good. So I've left it at 28, but yeah. That's pretty much it. What I want to do is show you how you can make your own custom.pngs using GIMP, using Photoshop, using what is it, Pixlr, you know, Paint.net. There's a ton of them. But basically, this is going to be, we're going to call it's window.png. It's a copy of it, so I'm opening up the regular window.png, but we're going to save it as window3.png and then look for window3.png in the plugin. So we need to change this up a little bit so that we can make it look a little different. We're going to customize it just a little bit. So the first thing I want to do is I want to take this box, and I'm going to copy by pressing Control-C. I'm going to press Control-Shift-N, make a new layer, and then I'm going to press Control-V, pasting it there. So if I turn this off, all I've got is this. Now on this layer, what I want to do is maybe do something to it. I don't want to do that because what's going to do is it's going to loop this over and over and over. So if we have white, black on the edges, it's going to look like there's lines running through it. So I don't really want to do that. Texturizing it might work, but once again we have like a black texture here and a white texture here. That's going to put lines throughout it. So as cool as that looks, I don't really want to use a bevel or emboss. Stroke, same thing. Inner shadow, the same thing. Inner glow. Now inner glow, it's going to make it look sort of like checkers, because once again it's going to attach it. So I don't know if I want to do that, but maybe I do if we call some sort of pattern to it. We could do some sort of pattern, but that looks pretty bad actually. We can do satin and change the color up right there to make it slightly brighter. We can color overlay. We can put a gradient to it. I think a gradient would be a good idea actually. Let's pick a gradient that's got like, we could create our own gradient too. Let's select this one. And how we create our own gradient is we select some colors here. So let's select like this blue. And then we'll go ahead and select this one and say maybe like a different color blue, maybe like a darker gray blue or something. Boom. And then what we can do is go to this, back to blending options, go to the gradient, and then select this again. Now it'll change that up. There we go. I kind of like that. We could even change the way that the gradient works. Radial gradient. We could do that, but it would repeat itself over and over and over, so I'm not sure how that'll look. We'll do this reflected gradient just to see how it looks. It might have angles on it that I don't like, but we'll have to just try a few and see how it comes out. Pattern overlay, we could always throw a pattern over it if we want to, but I don't really feel like that would... Yeah, because we're doing a gradient overlay, it's not going to change anything. If we didn't have a gradient overlay, then it would change it up quite a bit. You could get some crazy things. You could even try downloading art packs and get some different ones. That looks pretty crazy. We'll go ahead and accept that just because. And we don't want to do anything with the shadows or anything. So we've got that. What we could also do is throw some filters over it. Let's put a glass filter over it so that it looks like that. Now, we might have lines if they don't match up exactly, and I could see where they're not going to match up, and it's going to look weird. But just for the sake to speed this up, what we're going to do is we're going to accept it. So all we did was change that, and just the background. We could do the same thing by going back to this layer, selecting the lasso, selecting this part, and then pressing Control-C, making a new layer with Control Shift in, and then select that blank layer, press Control V. We can turn off these other layers, and now we've got just this. And we can repeat the process, further customizing it. Now this borderline, you could actually add a bunch of extra stuff to it to make it stand out a little bit more. I wouldn't do the stroke on it though. Inner shadow, maybe we can do some shadowing. I will do inner glow and then throw that over it to just kind of match up the color scheme and change the what do you call it, the blend mode on it. Kind of like that, looks neat. Let's use the satin and brighten it up a little bit. And maybe out, no, that's gonna look bad. Drop shadow, no, because it's gonna bleed into the other side. So that's it, that's all we're gonna do for that one. Let's go ahead and turn these back on. Keep in mind that it will use all of these, but only in the show text command. So let's go ahead and repeat the process. We're going to select this layer. We'll go ahead and select this. Wait, that's one pixel over too much. So I'm going to go like this, just like that. I'm going to press Control C, Control Shift in, enter, and then we're on that new layer. Press Control V, and we'll turn off the visibility of those other layers so we can just see what we're working on here. Now here, instead of just this, scan lines, let's go ahead and make this look a little bit different. Let's do something to it. I don't know if this will affect it at all. Just find something that makes it look a little bit different. We might even want to draw something in there to make it look different. Neon glow, we'll go ahead and do that. We could even get a little crazy with it. And let's see, we'll probably have to make a selection first. And then we can use like a gradient tool. And let's go like that. And well, that kind of oh, I know what we can do. We can change the opacity, right? Let's go to the opacity and go to like 20%. And let's go like this, straight line down. Are we on like yeah, we're on dissolve, so let's edit, undo that. We don't want a dissolve gradient. We kind of want like a vivid light gradient. Let's go straight down. That's pretty neat. Let's go ahead and try like a saturation gradient, and let's pick like a bright white color for one and then the dark gray for the other. Let's just go straight down. Boom. Let's also change this to like the star and go straight down. Boom. Since it's such a small thing, it's not really affecting it too much, but it is kind of putting it a little bit darker. Maybe that we can add a little more saturation. Basically, we're just playing around and testing a little bit and seeing what we can come up with. So there's sort of like a dark to light with less mesh. Small little things, that's fine. Let's turn on the other layers. And next thing we want to do, probably keep the colors the same, but we can change this little section right here. So let's go back to this tool. Let's go ahead and select right here. Actually, we should select the whole thing because it'll make it easier when we paste a new layer. Nope, not quite right. Sometimes it takes a few tries. There we go. And we're going to just select just like that. Perfect copy. We're going to we have to select the main layer like there. So copy that with Control C, Control Shift in, create a new layer. We're going to paste that right there. And now that we've got this, we can make these other layers invisible and just focus on what we're actually looking at and going to be affecting. Make sure we're on that layer. Now, what do we want to do here? This is like the highlighted part. We can see that this is what it looks like when it's highlighted, and this is what it looks like the action indicator. So what I kind of want to do is maybe even further specify just this box. All right, and now in this box, let's see if we can throw a filter up. And can we zoom in here? We can. Okay, cool. Let's pick something that makes it look a little bit different. We're just customizing it, trying to have a little fun with it too. And customizing our game is always going to increase the end result. You're not always going to get the effect you want the first time, but you've got to just keep messing with it. A lot of things in game development is trial and error. So keep trying and you'll figure out something that works eventually. We're going to go ahead and do base relief right there. Looks a little bit different. We're going to leave the highlighted section alone. Let's go ahead and turn everything back on. Keep it all visible. And that seems to be pretty good. We'll deselect that. Now we've got a custom one. I'm a little worried that this is not going to look good, but we'll have to just try it. And if not, we can come back to that. We've got everything on its own layer, so we can always come back to this layer if we need to edit that. One thing I want to do is go to the main layer here, which is we can turn off, and you see that all we're really using from the main layer is the color scheme, right? And a copy of the background to make everything pop out a little bit more. But we're going to leave it on as the background because we need it for the colors. Otherwise, all the font will be transparent and you won't see anything. So what we're going to do here is go to vibrance, increase the saturation a little bit and the vibrance up a little bit. That's good. We're going to go ahead and select that layer again and increase the hue saturation, brighten the whole thing up just a little bit, maybe not that much. And then we're going to increase the saturation to make it pop out a little bit more. And we can even change the colors up quite a bit, but I don't really want to do that too much because it might affect your /C command. So we're going to keep the hue at 0, but we're increasing the saturation and the lightness so the colors pop out a little bit more, but they're not really changed too much. So I think that's about it. I don't know if it'll work perfectly, but we're going to have to try it out. So let's go ahead and file save as. Remember, we're not overwriting window.png. We're going to select a PNG file. We're going to create a new one because we can have as many as we want actually. Inside of our IMG system folder, we're going to call it window3.png. Save that there. I already have one, which was a copy of window.png, but we just overwrote that. So now we're going to jump back into the plugin. Galv's message styles. We're already using window3.png because I just changed it when I was showing you the parameters. But now we're going to jump back into the game and see how much it is actually affected. It doesn't look too different. It's actually using just a piece of that whole crazy looking background, right? You can see that the outline, it actually doesn't look bad, but I was hoping it would actually affect it a little bit more. You can see that we've made that little indicator smaller by setting it to 75%. I kind of want to put that back at 150%. I do notice that the colors pop out a little bit more, but I was hoping for the background to actually work a little bit better. So you notice that it's only using a section of this screen. It's not really using too much of it, which is sad. But maybe because it's drawing this layer over it too much. So maybe what we need to do is go here and change the opacity to this to make it 50. And then we can also go to this one. Well, I don't know if we change the opacity on this. What we can do is select a section of it and just using that selection of it, we can change the opacity on that. So what we can do is copy this one. Well, we could just delete it, right? We could just completely clear that. So let's go ahead and select a magic eraser. Just get rid of all of that. There we go. And we can change the tolerance to get rid of the fine details too. Boom. And now it's only showing this one right there. All right. So now I think it might affect it. So let's go ahead and overwrite that again. Save as window3.png. Window3.png, save it, overwrite, yes. And let's go back into the game, save this, and run it again, and see if by reducing that overlay, the scan lines overlay, will it affect it? Nope, it seems to just be using a piece of it that it looks okay, right? It's still different from the default. It's still blue, but not as navy blue. It's more of like a different kind of blue, and we've got like streaks of brightness in there. It doesn't look bad, but I'm gonna keep messing with it just to get it to look a little bit different, a little bit better. I want it to pop out and be noticeably different. So let's go ahead and change this indicator zoom to say 125, and yeah, let's go ahead and back to here. What can we do to make this pop out a little bit more? Let's try to throw a filter on it, I guess. Let's do that one. Undo filter, I don't know. I'll have to keep messing with it, but yeah, I'll just do that until I find something I'm happy with. I kind of like this angled strokes and the sprayed strokes. We'll do that, but like I said, it's probably just going to use a section of it and won't mess with it too much. But yeah, that's basically how you would make your own window. File save as window3.png. I have a feeling it's going to be just about the same, just be a little more vibrant. But yeah, that's going to do it for this video. Sort of rambled on for a while and messed around with Photoshop a little bit too long. It's just a big trial and error thing. The border seems to have come out perfectly. The indicator looks nice. I still would like for the background to be a little bit different. So besides these streaks, it seems like there's some sort of a tinting effect that's happening. Anyway, that's going to do it for this video. If you enjoy this plugin, if you like this video, found it helpful, entertaining, please give this video a thumbs up, like, favorite, subscribe to the channel if you're new here. I have tons of tutorials and RPG Maker MV content for you to check out. You can follow me on Twitter. I'm at Driftwood Gaming. I've got a website, driftwoodgaming.com. There's tons of stuff in there, action sequences, whatever. Yeah, you guys are awesome. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see ya in the next video. Bye.